And we're live. Fantastic. Hello, everybody. I'm Spike, and welcome back to another self-taught Japanese in Rosetta Stone. Again, apologies for another late upload and another late live stream for this video. For those who catch it live, again, the program's database file and error that it keeps chucking out that is well known has been what stopped me from getting this review done and getting it out to you, because as anyone who has used Rosetta Stone knows, past 2013 or 2014 the support stopped for the program in this guise, and as a result the database file that logs all of these checkboxes and all the work that you've done just stops working because it doesn't correlate the date of the program with your PC, with the file, and as a result it says that it can't run. The database is out of date and it can't update, so close your application and start again. That's what I've been battling with for the past what are we on now, 18 hours before I could bring this to you. And today all it is the review. So I was supposed to get this review done and then start the core lesson straight away. This is now going to shift the core lesson to Friday. And yeah, I've just had to shift so many things because I've not been able to get this up off the ground. So here we are. This is going to be a very short video, I would assume, unless I have to obviously repeat quite a fair bit of myself like I did with the last review. So today this review will cover this entire module section, core lesson 3 and onwards. I should expect it to dip into a couple of things from here because they are repeated in this section, but it depends what we're going to be putting into practice in this review video as to how it's going to move us on and challenge us with what it's going to come out with. I don't know because I haven't seen it, so I will be exploring this at the same time. You'll be seeing a essentially live reaction to it, as it's the case with most of these modules. So that's where we're at. That's what it is. That's what this video today will be for, or live stream if you're catching the live stream. Speaking of which, for those who have found this video, please like, follow, share, and subscribe. It really helps me as a creator in producing this content. And as you can see, I'm about halfway to getting to affiliate status on Twitch, and I'm not too far off when it comes to the subscribers for getting a couple of extra tools and stuff unlocked on YouTube. So if you could like, follow, share, and subscribe. My Twitch channel, twitch.tv/crunked7up. That's my gamer tag. And over on YouTube, it's youtube.com/exofficina, which is EXOFFICINA. That's Latin for from the workshop, which is the name of my channel. It would mean the world to me for anyone who does see this if they can share it out to anyone who might have an interest in Japanese or learning languages, or hopefully getting their hands on some free material. That's what I'm doing with my recorded sessions here in Rosetta Stone 3, specifically for Japanese, and I'm starting at the very beginning because I'm learning this language myself from scratch. Hence the videos and playlists that I've been putting out and pumping up since the start of the year. It's my casual journey into teaching myself Japanese to show that, it can be done if you put your mind to it, and with the right kind of teaching methods, if you know yourself well enough of how you take in information, what works well for you, which is what you're seeing here for me. And my challenges are a little bit different because I have mental health issues, namely bipolar and OCD. Now, bipolar, obviously, for those who have seen, when I get things wrong, it does make me a little bit frustrated. That's kind of where I think the entertainment element will be coming from with regards to any of my videos, whether it's this or gaming. But it's the OCD portion that I utilize as a strength in memory retention and learning things very fast, very quickly. It doesn't take me long to pick things up, particularly pattern recognition and repetitive functions. Excuse me. So learning in this program, the way that it teaches you, has been relatively acceptable to my influx of information. That's allowed me to take on learning this language pretty easily, or I've found less difficulties than some may find. Um, but then it's also my core memory recall functioning, and the methods by which I won't allow myself to move on until I've hit 100% in the slide. I'm not going to move on until I hit 100%. So for those who have been keeping up, obviously you've seen me uh, sit there and rinse and repeat through the same slide over and over again until I've got 100%. I will not move on from that until I've learned it. That in itself is a technique is that I've been utilizing to learn record the information into my brain so that I can learn this at a pace that I find comfortable in a way I find comfortable. So I'm hoping that I can provide in these videos not just the information and the teaching materials for anyone to use, but also maybe some insights into how I'm taking on board some of the information, some of the things I'm noticing in the program, um, warts and all, whether it's good things or the bad things. I will point them out just for your consideration because they are things that I find for me might be important markers or important pieces of information, knowledge in learning this language. So with that out of the way, again, I am back. This is going to be the review for core unit 2, lesson 3, from here onwards. And this review will consist of hand-picked bits and pieces that the designers decided, oh, this is how we're going to review this particular set of chapters, this particular set of modules. So I'm hoping that this one's going to be a bit more diverse than the last one, because the last one was a little bit, I don't want to say disjointed, but it was definitely a little bit different to the reviews that have come before. If you want to check that out, by all means, go back through the videos that are in the playlist over on YouTube, where these videos live permanently, and you will see the progress, because we're now on, this is video number 48. I was hoping to make this one 49 and the core lesson 50. But it is what it is. So yes, we're on video 48 in that playlist. If you watch from start to finish, or go and try and handpick some bits and pieces from various places, you'll see what I'm suggesting here with regards to learning the language, picking up on tips and tricks and things I've learned from the program, as well as what I've extrapolated, creating reference sheets such as a kanji alphabetized list. Oh, it's not alphabetized, sorry, but it's their alphabet. It's part of their kanji, and I've got the shape of the kanji, and then also the Western Romanji English characters of how I might pronounce those, with some notation in brackets, for example, to give like instead of go, it's go. Instead of do, it's do. And I've put the H in bracket to show that it softens it in our language, much like how we would have certain inflections when we're describing how a word is spoken, how it's pronounced. So that's my kanji cheat sheet, or reference sheet of what I've extrapolated so far. It's auto shut down on my headset, it's so annoying. And then I've also got a list of the character numbers that we've got so far, which is 1 through 12 and then 0, as well as what I find is probably most important, the tensile forms. I, my, me, mine, you, your, yours. Obviously the he, his, him, his, and she, her, hers. And then they, their, them, theirs, obviously. And I've got it, its, and it, and then what recently has been covered, on, in, and under. These will get expanded with a couple of other things I've noticed and extrapolated from this program with regards to what it's teaching me, which I'm taking the basics of their grammar and having as reference sheets. So I have these forms, much like how I was taught in secondary school when it came to things like French or Latin, because I went to a grammar school. Doesn't mean that I'm any better than anyone else, because it wasn't an entirely fun experience for sure. But just some of the things that I learned in those lessons, or how the formatting of that structure was presented. I think again in this format, obviously again let's have another look. It gives you a reference sheet of the basic grammar and structure of the language, which you can reference to any time, and therefore build up a bigger, better picture that makes it easier. Oh, excuse me. It makes it easier in this program to reference if you get a little stuck without having to go back through videos and slides and all that and undo a lot of work, basically. So I always have these ready before doing a stream. So that's them ready. And without further ado, let's set up the microphone, which I'm immediately going to pull back this reference sheet because I do want to get into the habit of counting in Japanese on this microphone setup. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's that setup. I think everything's coming through for everybody. So without further ado, let's see where it jumps us in and begin with. Konnichiwa. So hello. Konnichiwa. Onamae wa?
Konnichiwa. Onamae wa?
What's your name? Bobby Jones desu. Because that's
Bobby Jones desu.
Yep. Cool. We like that. We like that. And then dozo yoroshiku.
Dozo yoroshiku.
Because it's nice to meet you. And we have the back gap, and then it's going to be sayonara because it's goodbye.
Sayonara.
So there we have it. That's our first slide. Oh, fantastic. There's only 8. And this appears a fair few times over, but it's more towards the end, or the middle and end of some of the modules. So I've got a feeling it's going to push us backwards and forwards all over the shop, compared to the previous review that we had that was way more linear in the narrative of what we were being taught and having to speak. Let's go crack on.
Tori.
Tori. Tori is street or avenue.
Kuni.
Kuni, flag country.
Koen.
Koen is park, outside.
Hashi.
Hashi. Hashi is bridge.
Machi.
Machi, that's the one I was getting confused with. That's city. There we go. So street or avenue, park, outdoors, bridge, city, and then Kuni, flag country. I'm pretty sure it's flag or country. It might be country, to be totally honest. Let me just double check. Kuni meaning Japanese is country, nation, or land. There we go. It's because I see the flag in the picture that I then think, oh, flag. It's for that word. It's not. It's country, nation, or land. Just for accuracy's sake. Right, so I'm going to move on to slide 3.
彼らは家に住んでいます。
Karerawa. So we already know that it's plural they, and ie, house, and sundemasu in front of. So they are in front of the house.
私は家に住んでいます。
Tashi wa is the single.
彼女はアパートに住んでいます。
So this is the single female in her apartment, and the male was talking about his, or he was saying that he is in front of, rather than I am in front of.
彼女はアパートに住んでいます。
And now I've got to start it all again because I've just buggered that up. Oh, I'm an idiot.
私たちはアパートに住んでいま
Did
す。
not mean to click that slide, so I've now got the incorrect answer in that slide. I'm not happy. Slide 4.
こんにちは。お名前は？
サラです。
どうぞよろしく。こんにちは。お名前は？ジョーンズです。
さよなら。どうぞよろしく。
どうぞよろしく。
I'm an idiot. I didn't even see it was going to be a speaking one until it popped up late. So there's another mistake. That's okay though, because
私
it gives
た
me a
ちは
chance.
日本出身です。
No, Nihon no, because it
私
doesn't
た
become
ちは
kara
日
until
本の
asking
出
the question.
身です。
私は日本。
No, shushin desu.
私は日本の出身です。
彼は日本
No,
出
shushin desu.
彼は日本の出身です。日本出身日本の出身ですか？
Not doing well in the review today. Oh, maybe my mind's elsewhere. I don't know.
私は木の近くにいま
Yeah,
す。
we know you're near the tree.
私は木から遠くにい
And now you're
ます。
far from the tree.
私は橋の近くにいます。
Watashi wa hashi no karatoku ni imasu.
私は橋から遠くにいま
Didn't even give
す。
me a chance to fucking say it. Watashi wa hashi karatoku ni imasu. Screw yourself then. No, fuck off. I need to get to the end of
ど
this
こ
and then
に
repeat
住んで
myself,
い
don't
ま
I?
すか？
私はアパートの211に住んでいます。
Oh,
どこに住んでいますか？
just gonna select the right
私
ones.
はアパートの215に
Oh,
住ん
those
で
two
いま
slides have
す。
really ticked me
ど
off.
こに住んでいますか？
Unbelievably annoying. This is the one thing I don't like about the review, is that you can't repeat and then back out. You have to do it, finish it, and then go back and redo it again all the way through. It's all blacked and blocked out. Don't like that. 私
私たちはローマに住んでい
ま
ます。
す。どこに住んでいますか？
どこに住んでいますか？
And they are from Moscow.
私たちはモスクワに住んでいま
Yeah,
す。
we know. Come on, I haven't got time for this.
この国の名前はエジプトです。
Yeah,
この国の名前はロシアです。
yeah,
この国の名前は日本で。
yeah.
この国の名前はイタリアです。
The only one it can be. Cool. So we've got like 3 wrong. Yeah, 88%. Not happy with that. Return to the home screen. Let's crack on. Let's pull that back and go back to reset the score of the review and start again.
こんにちは。
Konnichiwa, namae wa?
こんにちは。お名前は？
What is your name? Bobby Johnson desu, because that was his name.
ボビー・ジョーンズです。
Ah, nice to meet you.
どうぞよろしく。
Yeah. Cool. And then we've got a blank, and then he's going to say goodbye because that's the end of that conversation.
さような
And
ら。
he's got her little hands that you can just about see behind the letterbox. It's actually waving goodbye. Slide 1, done. We know slide 1.
公園、
Go in. Well, we know that's a park and it's outside.
国、
Kuni is country, nation, or land. That's by my
Machi.
correction. Machi is city.
橋、
Hashi is the bridge.
通り、
And Tori is the street or avenue. There we go. Just leave them up there for the second. Machi, city. Kuni, country, land, or nation. Hashi, the bridge. Koen, for park or outside area. You know, it's pretty self-explanatory to be fair. Tori is the street or the avenue. Again, depending on context and described. Let's move to the next slide.
私たちはアパートに住んでいます。
Talking in the plural about us and in a polite form. It's the male talking with a female next to him. We use in the polite form watashi tachi wa for the plural. They're in the apartment. It's got to be this couple down in the bottom left.
彼らは家に住んでいます。
So gararaba is the plural for them, they. We've got ie, so we know it's a house that we're talking about, and sundeimas is in front of, so we know it's they are in front of the house, which is this family here.
私は家に住んでいます。
Watashiwa is in front of the house. He's talking to us in a polite form about oneself. It's the man in front of the
彼
house.
女はアパートに住んでいます。
And konojo wa See how these have got a little triangle? They are talking about themselves, and then the form changes when we are talking about someone. So kareawa is for the plural for they, and then kanojo wa she. She is in her apartment. So we're talking about her, not they are talking to us. Which is the difference here slightly in the grammar of why they've been selected as opposed to, say, boku wa, which is a more plain and impolite masculine form for this guy here, which I would suggest is the only instance in this slide where that could change. Not always the case, though. Don't argue against it. It's just something that I've learned. Let's go slide 4.
こんにちは。お名前は
サラです。
どうぞよろしく。こんにちは。お名前は
ジョーンズです。
どうぞよろしく。
どうぞよろしく。
I said yoroshiku, and it still marked me down 2 points on the circle. Oh, that's so annoying. You repeat it and say what they're asking, and it still goes, nah. Oh well, means I just have to improve my pronunciation again.
どうぞよろしく。どうぞよろしく。
Although I have found that this program, even on 3/4 strictness for pronunciation and the subtle syllabants control in the Japanese language, in repeating these things back for the answers, so it is more sensitive. I've found that even then, it's still not amazingly sensitive, probably because of the age of the program, because there are still some words. Again, the evidence is proven in some of the previous videos that I have uploaded for doing this content presentation, for example. You can see there are videos out there where I'm literally copying what is being said and repeating it back to the program, and it's still marking me down as wrong. So, I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's not going to be a perfect program. I'm not asking it to be from 2010, but, you know, a little
私た
infuriating.
ちは日本。
No. 出身です。
私たちは日本の出身です。
We are from
私は
Japan.
日本出身
No, 出身です。I am
私
from
は
Japan.
日本の出身です。
彼は日本。
No, 出身です。
彼は
I am
日
from
本の出
Japan.
身です。日
日
本
本の出身ですか？
日本の
Are you
出
from
身です
Japan?
か
Because ですか, going from des to ですか changes from there is, there are, you are, etc. ですか, anything with ska on the end, whether it's maska, imaska, deska, changes it into a question, which obviously participle is part of the front form of the sentence here, which is why we lose the noun, the noun that's going on at the front with the I, he, she, they, because it's implied you are asking the question to whomever. I don't, from what I've understood so far in learning the language, it drops it because it's not necessary. You'd already be talking to the subject and not require the grammar. The grammar comes from their answer, for their pronoun, for example. Let's move on to slide 6.
私は木の近くにいます。私は木から遠くにいます。私は橋の近くにいます。
私は橋のから遠くにいます。
私は橋から遠くにいます。
I had to think about that then, and I think that's just going to mark me down for that first indiscretion. So we'll find out when
ど
we get
こ
to the
に
end.
住んでいますか？
That's annoying.
私はアパートの211に住んでいま
Yes,
す。
you're in apartment
どこに住
211.
んでいます
Where do
か
you live? 私はアパートの
私はアパート
215に
の
215
215に住んでいま
住ん
す。
でいます。
どこに住んでいますか？
Where are you from? Is it where are you from? どこに住んでいますか? Yeah. Where are you from? We are from
私た
Rome.
ちはローマに住んでいます。
Doko ni sunde imasu ka? Where are you
どこに
from?
住んでいますか？
And these guys, that's Moscow in the background. So, 私たちはモスクワに住んでいます.
私たちはモスクワに住んでいます。
There we go. I'm going to be reading ideas. Slide 6 gives me a down
この
mark.
国の名前は日本です。
Oh, that's you,
この
Japan.
国の名前はロシアで
The
す。
name of this country is Russia.
この国の名前はイタリアです。
The name of this country is Italy.
この国の名前はエジプトです。
The name of this country is Egypt. There we go. Oh, we got 100%. Oh, it didn't mark me down for that slide 6 spoken mistake because I took too long in deciding whether I was needing to say karaki or hashi, even though she's in front of a goddamn bridge. Well, there you go. So that's what a review kind of entails, is it goes backwards and forwards between most, like, really random, predetermined material in the review of the entirety of the previous section. Now, I'm not too sure if it's picking the easier stuff or the harder stuff, or just giving us a mix that it's had pre-programmed into it. But so far, each of the reviews have sort of cherry-picked where they're taking bits and pieces from. But it's not clear as to whether the review is supposed to actually teach you much from what you've just learned, or whether it's just like an overview of the main core subjects, potentially, of what it's wanted you to take from that selection of modules. I'm not entirely sure, but there is a hint of a pattern that it's just taking this new thing that I've taught you, that I want you to have learned, and this more complicated thing that we touched on in the previous stuff that now you should know, and here's a rehash of where you started. They seem to be the three main things out of the review slides that I've noticed, but they're not set in pairs, they're not set in groups, they're not set to keep a continuous theme, which is a little disjointed in my eyes. But as reviews go, it feels like that's the bit that's going to then next be important in the next core lesson, because that's then the next thing that seems to be expanded on. At least that's what I think I've noticed going from review into core lesson from the previous stuff, whether it's from unit to unit or whether it's from lesson to lesson. So just something to keep in mind. Again, I could be wrong and remembering things wrong with my own content. Who knows? Go back and watch the videos that are already out there to go find out. And by all means, comment in the videos below to where I might have made those mistakes. Speaking of which, please like, follow, share, and subscribe to both channels, twitch.tv/Chronic7up and youtube.com/xofficina. You'll find my videos live permanently on YouTube because I have to export them from Twitch. And they only last for 7 days on Twitch at the moment. Hence why I'm asking to like, follow, share, and subscribe. Please support this channel and myself. I do this all for nothing, just for the hell of doing it, because I enjoy doing it and I want people to see what I enjoy. It's also to try and build a community and make some new friends, because I'm a little bit socially awkward and anxious and all the rest of it, thanks to the mental health side of things. So I'm trying to branch out and reach out to people with the things that I enjoy, that I hope others enjoy and want to come back and keep watching or listening to. If you have it on in the background, you know who you are, Benji. But for those who do come here and find this useful, please like, follow, share, and subscribe. Support the channel. Share me about to your friends. They might enjoy this stuff, or anyone who's looking to get into this who might not be able to afford getting any programs or looking into apps or doesn't know where to start and stuff. I'd like to think that what I've done in showing my own journey thus far from the start of the year, where I've taken this seriously and have actually started to, produce and show what I'm doing, to show that I'm learning the language from scratch. And I say from scratch, I have had prior experience, but I was way back in my teens. We're talking like 20 odd years ago, when I first was getting interested in forming my own opinions and views of things, my own likes and interests, as you do when you're growing up. Japan's always been of an interest, so I've always taken an interest. So I find a lot of stuff from their culture and that a lot easier to digest and more palatable to me. That's not always everyone's case. It's not always the case for a language you may want to learn. You may know absolutely nothing about the country and the people and so on and so forth, so it's completely alien to you. I'm hoping that the videos I've produced thus far show that it is doable. You put your mind to it and you find a way around how you take in information and have a program like this. It's not too difficult to get to grips with and understand, even when starting off at the lower end reaches of the scale, because usually everyone wants to just skip ahead and start in the middle somewhere. Some languages that's not possible. I think Japanese is definitely one of them, but you can certainly find patterns that I've mentioned. For example, Japanese sentence structure is basically how Yoda speaks in English. Once you've recognized that pattern and that dynamic, it makes it easy to spot where things repeat. For example, how we have the noun or pronoun at the start in Japanese, and how we usually finish with a des or a mas, which is there are, there is. So you're starting with I, and then the thing that is, or the doing thing, and then there is, there are at the end. Very similar to a Yoda speak. Jedis there are, as opposed to there are the Jedis, for example, how we actually speak in English. So it's just something to be in mind that although narratively works, is not necessarily functionally the way it works, but for a Western English speaker trying to learn Japanese that may be completely and utterly alien, this is a mechanical, metaphorical tool to recognize a pattern of how this is all constructed that we may find easier to digest, and therefore that takes away a barrier to learning the language immediately, because that we can start sectioning out a sentence and start recognizing where certain words fit all the time. Like how English works. The and is, they always go in specific places in a sentence that will never change. Otherwise, they make the sentence not make sense when they're in the wrong order. So again, it's picking up on those patterns. Once you can extrapolate and pick up on those patterns, they become easier to spot. When they become easier to spot, they become easier to learn and take in, and then put in the right place or select when we're learning by pictorial slides like we are in Rosetta Stone. It makes it easier to start learning the reference picture and what it's trying to say above it with the language and what that is in English, until obviously we translate and put it into the kanji. That's a whole different ballgame. But again, the extrapolation of the sounds that the kanjis make individually, you'll find that these sounds start repeating, much like our own letters, where we can have individual letters with their own sounds. We can have those letters being modified by, say, an I or an E, because E's magic, and so on and so forth, where we've got our own little rules of language. We're learning how that occurs with regards to the kanji. And how it changes in inflection. We're also starting to come across the double letter sounds, like your ch's and your sh's, and like how GH can be a f or an uff sort of sound, as well as a och to sound. All those sort of nuances in language are starting to come through in this. So again, the whole point of this is to show my journey, and that I do this. I practice a little bit with my notes, but other than that, I'm not even researching and learning in what is recommended. I might watch animes and stuff like that, but don't use animes so much to learn phrases and that, because no one actually in Japan speaks how they are scripted to talk in the animes. So you can learn phrases, but it's not always going to be functional Japanese that you're teaching yourself. But it is making it easier for me to pick up in Japanese subbed stuff, certain words and phrases that are cropping up, like your ni naka ni or no any, the in under stuff, or the differences between your watashi and your boku, and like where those kinds of nouns and pronouns fit. Like a lot of it, listening to those kinds of things has become a lot easier to and a lot quicker to recognize, which means that obviously the learning in this program is really starting to kick in, and it is just practice, practice, practice with the speaking and the pronunciation that will help bring out the immediacy of how we can just pluck words out of thin air and make sentences in English. But for me in Japanese, as you've witnessed, I can say what I need to say if I can read it, but trying to come up with it by myself, it takes a little bit longer for me to formulate the sentence in my head before I speak it, and then I'm second guessing myself as to what I'm speaking is actually going to be correct. Again, that's the bit that comes with practice. However, since the start of this year, since January, since starting these videos, and this is video 48 in the series thus far in that playlist, in 48 videos, I've got to a point of understanding enough basic Japanese, I think, where I could, if spoken too slowly, probably understand enough of a sentence to get the context of what is being asked of me or spoken to me about when it comes to simple basic things. And that might be elementary school, primary school sort of basis. Well, at least I can talk to someone. Might not be the ideal age group, but at least, you know, I'd be able to understand some basic Japanese in their own language like a native speaker, which is the goal of this. It's why I think the video of the review today, these reviews, a little bit all over the place in the program. So it is, again, something to be mindful of what we're reviewing when we're doing these reviews. It's more the main chunk of the pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, reading, writing modules, etc. in the middle that seem to provide the most that you'll get out of this program. So again, as experience goes from making this content in bringing to you my journey of learning Japanese, in the hope that my material can help you on your own journey to maybe learn the language or understand the language. And from some of the things I've noticed as someone who is picking this up and teaching it himself, I'm hoping it's in a casual enough way for people to pick up and to not be thinking, oh, it's too hard of a language to learn, I'm too old, I can't do this, you know, I might have other extra challenges in my life that are getting in the way. I'm hoping that this is a little bit of an easier introduction to learn said language. On that note, I'm going to leave it there because this video is now nearly 40 minutes and only 20 minutes was of it actually doing anything. So again, apologies for that. I can waffle a little bit. I hope that you will stay with me on this journey and see where it ends up. I hope that those that do follow this, watch the videos wherever you're watching it, Twitch or YouTube, you like, follow, share and subscribe. Get in at the comments below for anything you might want to see, hear, some tips, some tricks, some advice, things I might have got wrong, constructive feedback, constructive criticism, whatever you like, I'm all for it. Failing that, on both pages, you can get hold of me on Discord and PM or DM me over on there if you so wish. That's all from me. That's it for today. Until Friday, I will aim to do the core lesson on Friday at my usual 10:30 to 11 sort of start time slot. It will be up on Friday. It's one of my only things to do on Friday. In fact, my only thing to do besides waking up. So look out for the core lesson dropping on Friday on Twitch Live and almost immediately after going to live on YouTube. So that's it from me today. That's today's video. I hope you've enjoyed the video of the review and where things are going next. That's video number 48 over and done with. Come stick around for number 49. As always, take care, stay safe, keep sane, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.